proportions means to be equal or the same if a person's response is in proportion to the situation. For example, so then we would say it's equal to the situation. Like if you wanted dessert tonight and you didn't have the ice cream that you wanted, throwing down and screaming and yelling and having a tantrum would not be in proportion to the situation. Screaming and yelling and throwing down might be if the person you love the most in the world suddenly died. That would be proportional, but in proportion means equal to. So when we use proportions in math, it means something that's equal to or the same as. So when we proportions are fractions equal to another fraction, a fraction that's the same thing as another fraction. For example, we would say 1/2 is equal to 5/10. 1 is half of 2, 5 is half of 10. These are in proportion to one another. They are equal to each other. 7/8 is in proportion to 70/80. They're equal to each other. If you had, let's say, a giant pizza, and you broke it into 8 pieces, and you ate 7 of them, that's the same as if you broke that same pizza into 80 pieces and you ate 70 of them. You can always tell when something's in proportion. You can tell if it's truly equal. 3/5 is the same as 300/500. And all of these that I've shown you, how you can tell if they're really in proportion is you can cross multiply. And this is generally the only time we cross multiply is when we have fractions equal to fractions. We use this for rates and ratios and percents and lots of other things, converting measurements, all kinds of things that we can use this system, and it's kind of easy to use when it's a helpful method. But cross multiply to see if they're the same. Like 10 times 1 is 10 and 2 times 5 is 10. So since they equaled the same amount, we know they're in proportion. 80 times 7 is, I believe, 560. 8 times 70 is also 560. 3 times 500 is 1,500. 5 times 300 is 1,500. So these are definitely what we would call in proportion to one another. So if we have a setup where we're trying to find a missing number, and we do this with rates and ratios and other situations, percentages and stuff, we usually know 3 of the numbers and we don't know the 4th, and we need to figure out what number should be there to make these equal to each other or make these be proportional to each other. So to find the missing number, this is what you do. You cross multiply where you can, and then you divide by the number not used yet. So we can't cross multiply this way because there's nothing to multiply the 5 by. So, but we can cross multiply going this way. So 3 times 35, or 35 times 3, and then divide by the number we didn't use, which is 5. So 3 times 35 divided by 5, and when you do that math, you're going to discover that the missing number is 21. So the 21 is the number that should be up here to make this proportional. If we had 7 over something equals 8 over something, again, cross multiply where you can, 7 times 12, and then divide by 8. And that would give you 10.5, or 10 1/2.